Well, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, August 14th, which means it's Journal 139 and T134. T134? T134. I got it. Um, a little disorganized right now because I actually wasn't planning on doing the blog post right now, but I'm sitting here, it's quiet, I'm alone, I had time to think. Had time to think while I was here, and I also had time to think this morning when Leslie and I went on a 3 mile walk together, which luckily ended just as it started to get really warm out, and the sun started to beat down pretty heavily. And you know, both conditions are prohibited for me at this time. I think that's one of the reasons that I'm doing the blog now, because you think about a lot of things on a walk like that. Last night I went to Tai Chi class, and it was a good. I really enjoy the class. It's a good class, a really great instructor who explains what's going on, which a lot of other instructors don't do and don't do well. And he does it very, very well. But it also is moving meditation, and it also dislodges a lot of stuff that's stuck inside you and hasn't an opportunity to bubble to the top because you keep suppressing it. At least that's the way it works for me. And you couple all of that with the fact that I have a birthday coming up, and it is really funny because I wasn't really thinking about the birthday. I mean, in all honesty, I've been focused on my April 2nd transplant birthday more than I've been focused on my August 23rd chronological birthday, which is odd, really, when you think about it. You would think that first of all, you can't get to one without getting past the other, which kind of goes without saying. But my focus has really been on getting through the first year of treatment and recovery for the transplant more than anything else. And that brings with it its own challenges, and it brings with it its own satisfactions and rewards. And I hadn't really thought much about my chronological birthday, other than when somebody else brought it up, the amount of gratitude I have for having one. I mean, really, I know a lot of people that get neurotic about birthdays and they hate them and they complain about them and they it turns them into anxiety soup of some kind, where they're complaining about everything, especially as you start racking them and stacking them and the numbers start to get high. Once you've been through, a life-altering experience like being confronted with what was at the time terminal illness, and all of the angst that goes along with that, trying to figure things out, and what to do and where to go and how to act and what to think. And you're given the opportunity at a second shot without the symptoms, without the itching, without the pain in your abdomen, without the coughing, without the really debilitating fatigue. Those birthdays take on a whole new meaning. And I'm not suggesting that you need to go through something like that in order to figure that out. I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone. realistically, it's it's a lot to handle, and people handle it in many different ways. I was fortunate in the respect that I think I was able to handle it well, um, overall, and came back from the darkness and into the light. A really different person in many respects. Um, Little things like the opportunity to be together with family and friends are incredibly meaningful. I'm not suggesting that they weren't meaningful before. They were, but this is on a whole different level. Recognizing how easily it could have been that I wouldn't have had that opportunity anymore. Certainly not um, feeling uh, as optimistic about the future as I do right now, um, which is an interesting kind of a dynamic. Uh, Recognizing that I still haven't had my immunizations, and I'm nowhere near out of the woods, and that there are all kinds of, you know, uh, risks that are still very real and demand consideration and attention. But I feel good, and that in and of itself is something to think about. And it's something that I think about all the time. Is like, do I feel good because I feel good? Or do I feel good because the numbers suggest I'm better? Does that make any sense? I mean, it kind of does to me. One of them suggests that if you're feeling good, you should feel good regardless of what the numbers suggest. Um, the other leaves me feeling too dependent on, you know, blood work. And I guess the big question is, how much influence does the mind-body connection really have on what your body's doing and how well it's doing it? And that we're going to find that out tomorrow, quite frankly. Um, this is the longest I think I've gone without a transfusion. Um, the fatigue I usually feel uh, before getting a transfusion is absent. I feel strong, I feel good. I don't feel as good as I probably could or should or will in the future, but I feel certainly a lot better than I felt in the past, and that's something worthy of noting as well. And I guess one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about all of these issues is that having had this second opportunity, having been confronted with the opportunity to be more, do things differently, um, as a result of recognizing what's important and what's not, um, makes you wonder about, your identity and what constitutes that identity, um, who you are in comparison to who you were, and who you are right now in comparison to who you would like to be or become. And I think that's a combination of um, both birthdays, both my chronological birthday and my transplant birthday. Uh, I think both are important. I think this um, the new me, the me I envision, uh, more caring, more conscious, more considerate me is the me that I really like and would like to go ahead and cultivate. So think about you and the you you'd like to become, and then perhaps at some point we can talk about that. In the meantime, stay well, take care. Tomorrow's blog post will probably be a lot later because we'll be out at the City of Hope for a good part of the day, and we can go from there. Okay? Thank you very much. It's always wonderful being with all of you. Kind of makes my day. Stay well, take care, love you all. Bye.